Welcome to the Cabral Concept, where board-certified naturopath and integrative health practitioner Dr. Stephen Cabral shares how he was diagnosed at the age of 17 with a life-altering illness and given no hope for recovery. It was only after studying and traveling all over the world did he discover how to combine ancient Ayurvedic healing practices with state-of-the-art naturopathic and functional medicine to fully rebalance the body and re-energize it with life. It's time to discover how to get well, lose weight, and finally feel alive again. And now, here's your host, Dr. Stephen Cabral.
Hi, everyone. Welcome back. We're here today with our Motivation and Mindset Monday show. I hope that you've had a great weekend, got some rest, and are ready now to start another week. So whether you listen to this show midweek, later in the week, on the weekends from the previous week to get yourself motivated, the idea, though, behind the shows is not just to motivate you, absolutely, hopefully to inspire you, but then also give you action steps that you can take along the way. I know that there's so many different articles and podcasts and shows and books that are meant to inspire you. And I love that. And I read them and I watch them and I listen to them myself. But what I want you to know is that being motivated, being inspired without any action actually frustrates you more in the long run. Because as you get motivated and as you get inspired, you start to dream bigger dreams. That's really what it's all about. And I think that's an amazing thing. But if you don't begin to act on those dreams and on those hopes and on those goals, it leads to a life of frustration. Never in that moment. That's not typically it because you're dreaming big. You're really looking forward to the future and believing that the future can be better than the present. And that's always a great place to live, even if things are great right now. Why can't things be even better in the future? So what I say to you is this, though, is that let's dream those big dreams, but then also let's put it into motion. So today's show is also about that. You know, it's not too late. A lot of people are like, oh, I missed my New Year's resolutions. The year's already started, all these different things, or I'm not hitting my goals. None of that matters. Like that's just a specific date on the calendar, choosing January 1st as a day to get started. But that's not really what it's all about. The goal is really living what I call the 12-week year. And again, I don't think that I came up with that. We're having Brian Moran on in the future to actually on one of our Thursday shows to go over his book, but really looking at it as 90-day movements throughout the year so that you get to recalibrate along the way. And it doesn't matter whether it's the middle of February. It doesn't matter that it's May. It does not matter the month or the day. The thing is, it's about committing. It's about deciding right now that you have these goals and that the only way to achieve them is through you taking different actions than you've taken yesterday or even today. And it could be more of the same, and maybe you're just not there yet. You haven't put in enough time and not enough time has passed. But for most of us, it's making tweaks. It's doing a little bit different things along the way. Certainly making different decisions and obviously having a clear path towards that goal. So what I want to do is I want to share with you right now what I really think are the 7 best New Year's resolutions to implement for pretty much everyone. So if you haven't implemented all 7 of these, just keep that box open. Check off the ones that you've done. But if you haven't implemented these 7, add them to your list because I can't think of too many individuals that they don't apply to. Let's see if they apply to you. And of course, feel free to leave comments. Let me know what you thought. And also feel free to add others for the community, whether you're commenting on Instagram or on YouTube. Inside of CabralSupportGroup.com, you name it. Feel free to let us know. We love the dialogue back and forth. All right, so let's get right into the first one. So the first one, if you have not added this to your list, please do so. I've talked about this for many years on the Cabral concept, but the truth is this, that I wasn't going to use the analogy, but I'm going to use it anyway because I like these things sometimes. I really do. I like quotes and I like analogies. But, readers are leaders, as they say. And the truth is this. You don't need to always be reading. You could be listening to audiobooks. But it can't just be let's say an audiobook for pleasure. It can't just be a podcast for pleasure. It can't just be a book for pleasure. Now, you can still do those things, and I do them myself. Like that's part of my downtime as maybe driving home from work. If I'm not doing a call with a team member, I am listening to something just enjoyable, like anything enjoyable. It could be a podcast, could be a YouTube video that I'm not watching the video in the car, but I'm listening to it at the same time. It can be any one of those things, and sometimes I do that during lunch as well. So that's that. But we need to make sure that we are going deep on the topic where we want to achieve our goal. And that's the issue with nowadays. It really is. And that's why I feel so fortunate that when I was sick, and I was sick for quite a long time, that the internet wasn't at its heyday. And so that meant that I was forced to read books. And I was forced to also just discover more books, meaning like you read a book and then they would talk about another book inside of the book, and then you would read that book. And books are like 300 pages long. So you would go deep and then you would go deeper on the next book and you would learn a little bit about this. Now, the problem is that when we read articles, they're like 1,500 words. Well, I mean, how many pages is that? Like 5 pages or so? Like, it's not a lot of pages of material. So very few people are going deep right now. And I urge you, if you're not a big reader, just then listen to an audiobook. But don't just listen to it, right? Because, and the reason why I use that line, readers are leaders, is that you're the leader of your life. Don't worry about anybody else's life. What's your life going to be about? It's so hard to change someone else's life. I mean, you can try, and you want to do all you can. I'll talk about this in just a little later as part of the 7 tips, but you need to live your life as hopefully, as a role model, as someone that is saying like, it can be done. I started here. This is what I did next, then this, and you just kind of serve as the blueprint. People don't need to follow. They're not going to be you. They're not going to have your life, but they can begin to take some type of inspiration from that. Really, I mean, that's what it's all about. It's like, I had my own diseases of the body, but hopefully someone with very different diseases understands that if I got well and there was no hope for me, well, if there's no hope for you either, you can get well too. It's my diseases weren't any more curable than your diseases, right? So here's the thing. There's always hope, but you have to go deep. You need to learn. You need to be someone that really is in charge of your own life. So take your time, but begin to use that formula I gave you many, many years ago, and that's read 10 pages a day. If you read 10 pages a day, you read a book a month. That's 300 pages a month. If you do that over the course of a year, you've read 12 books. Read 12 books on the topic you are looking to become an expert in. Trying to fix your thyroid, trying to fix your adrenals, trying to fix your gut and digestion, trying to become a health coach, trying to open up a business, trying to become a real estate agent, trying to become, whatever it is. Listen, any of those things, if you read 12 books in and around the topic, trust me, you'll be an expert in that category. Will you be at the very highest level? No. I mean, I read thousands of books by the time I was 30, literally, and I wouldn't consider myself an expert. I still had more to go. I still had more to learn. But, in terms of the average person, yes. I mean, I was already teaching nutrition. I was teaching strength and conditioning, performance, personal training, all those things. But I had some ways to go. So it doesn't mean like you ever max out. I have ways to go now. I mean, that's why this is a journey that's always unfolding, but it starts with knowledge. So number 2 is this. As you are reading about all these great things, as you are listening to the audiobooks, take notes. That's journaling. So number 2 is journaling. Number 1, read. And by read, you can listen as well if you're better at audio than you are reading. So, and again, some of that is natural and genetic and some not. I'm a reader. I'm someone that sees things virtually and learns virtually. Some people are more, they from an auditory standpoint, they learn better in that way. And that's okay. I don't. So I read, but you can listen and that works as well. But write down. So when you put pen to paper, yes, you can type it out, but pen to paper and you journal. Now, I'm not talking about keeping a diary. A lot of people, when they hear me say journal, they think keep a diary. I don't keep a diary. I'm not saying that's good or bad. Maybe I should. I would love to look back on many of the things that I've gone through and which I had that diary. But the truth is I don't do it. I don't see myself ever doing it. But that doesn't mean you shouldn't. What I mean by journal is this, and I absolutely do journal, and I wish that I had mine on my desk right now to show you. But what I do is this. I am constantly learning and reading, and I take all sorts of different notes. And I mentioned that, I think, just like 2 podcasts ago, or maybe even last Friday, with the app that I'm using. So definitely check out that app that I've recommended before. But what I do in my journal is I go through all of the different kind of experiments that I'm doing right now and learning and the different variables that I'm testing. And, I'm always talking about testing variables. That's how you figure things out. People always think like, well, how do you figure this out? How do you figure that out? How did you figure this? How did you know that? Well, the truth is like, I don't start with ever having necessarily the answer for the individual. I know about a dozen of the different things that it's going to be, right? But if you come to me with acid reflux, I don't know the reason why you have acid reflux, but I know the 12 reasons why. I just don't know your reason yet. So then what I do is I run lab tests, and if the person can't run lab tests, that's okay. Then we just use other methodologies. And I just start to work the list. I'm like, is it high stomach acid? Is it low stomach acid? Is it a histamine issue? Then I start to go through, is it a lower esophageal sphincter issue? Then I go through, is it hiatal hernia issue? And then I go through, is it H. pylori? I just start going through the list. Remember, I just gave you an example of acid reflux, but it's the same exact thing no matter what dis-ease of the body you have. It's the same thing. The problem is people are like, oh, well, ashwagandha worked for me, but it didn't work for me, so I guess ashwagandha doesn't work. Well, no, it doesn't work if it doesn't work for you because it doesn't work on the one of the 12 things that you have that someone else may not have. When I had acid reflux as a teenager, I had it for very specific reasons, histamine issues, right? So that's why I had it. And then I'm like, oh, well, later I figured out, histamine it's also causing my gut issues. It's causing this. So like you have to understand is that we are all unique individuals and you go through life, just like many of us do, probably saying, well, that didn't work for me. That didn't work for me. Remember, it probably would with a little bit of a tweak. If it's worked for enough people, it just needs a little bit of a tweak. So what happens is if you're testing variables and you're writing them down in your journal so that you don't repeat the mistakes of the past, it's so much easier to move forward. But one other reason why I love a journal is this, is that no matter how good or bad things are right now, the future is not yet planned. The future has not yet happened. It's what we're doing today that moves us forward towards that. So I'll tell you this, anyone that's ever created, like literally manifested a goal into their life, whatever it might be, family, relationships, and career, and body, and health, it all started with a thought in your mind, a picture in your mind, an image, a visualization. Typically, we have the thought. A thought is conjured up as an image because we human beings think in imagery, which is great. So then what do? Well, we can draw it in a journal. We can write it in a journal. We can cut out a photo. We can do any of those things, right? Vision boards really do work. Why? Well, they keep your mind on your vision. And if your mind's on your vision, you're more likely to do what? You're more likely to take the steps that you need to, see the opportunities that you can take, and then go ahead and do those specific things. So I wouldn't call it a secret, but it kind of is a secret, until you know it, it's a secret, right? So like the secret really does work. You can't just wish for the thing. You can't just wish for it. You need to believe that you can achieve. You need to create the vision, and then you need to take the steps to move towards it. So sure, there is a secret to it, and it does take some work, no doubt about it, but journaling can certainly help. All right, number 3 is this, meditate. And I know you're saying like, well, should that be a New Year's resolutions? How that going to help me at all? Listen, I'll tell you this. I did meditation for a long, long time. I really did. And I forced myself to do it. And it's because I still wasn't well. And this is going back a little bit now, but like I had gotten well, but I wasn't like at 100%. I just knew it. Like, sure, I mean, my life was completely changed. I felt fantastic, all of those different things. Okay. But I knew that there was still more. And so I was exploring different techniques, and meditation kept coming up, and it still does to this day. And that's because the research on it is undeniable. So here's the thing. I've had it kind of later in life, since I'm well now, I feel fantastic now, life is good. So I'm like, well, I don't want to do meditation then because I'm already good. So why do I need to meditate? I feel fine. My mind's fine. My body's fine. My energy's great. Like life is good. But the truth is, you don't want to stop doing things that are good for you because you're already good, right? It's like if you're in shape, do you stop working out? No, you should keep working out. So meditation to me now has become more of a biohacking. If you're watching this on video, I'm giving you the air quotes. And that's because I'm more using it now. I've always talked about my walking meditation. So if you've never heard about that before, definitely tune back to previous shows. But essentially my walking meditation is me. No music, no videos, no anything, going for a walk. And I put on binaural beats or just pure quiet, but I still keep my headphones in. So it's basically like what do you call that? Desensitization. I'm basically, putting myself in my own little ISO chamber. But I go out and I'll basically walk. I'll just walk on the trails, any of these nice things. But if I'm in the city, if I walk outside of my office in Boston, I put on binaural beats and I just close out the rest of the world and I just focus on my breath. That's it. I just focus on my breath and breathing and I take in my surroundings. That's my walking meditation. But I'm more formal at meditation now. I just can't see myself right now in this moment because it's not at the highest priority, is I dedicate 10 minutes twice a day. 10 minutes twice a day. And what I do is I actually focus on breathing techniques. So I use it as a time for biofeedback. So I'm just breathing in and then releasing slowly. Breathing in and releasing slowly. And the breaths are typically 7 seconds in, 7 seconds out. Or I'll do box breathing, which is 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold, 4 in, 4 hold, 4 out, 4 hold. So just you create a box, right? 4 sides, 4 seconds. But honestly, the time, it doesn't matter as much. Always just make sure the breath out is the same or longer than the breath in so that you don't stimulate the nervous system. But breathing techniques can work wonderfully for meditation. So again, I focus on that. Breathing's more of a part of it now because, I have a lot of people always say like, well, my genetics aren't great. Listen, my genetics are not great. They're honestly not. Like every day, like again, as I told you, every day things are good, but I'm constantly working against certain things in my body. I'm prone to what's called mast cell activation syndrome or mastocytosis, which I had many, many years as a child growing up, my entire childhood. I have poor oxygenation utilization a lot of times because of that. So again, for breathing, for me, it's a thing. We're all breathing, right? But I use it as a specific technique with meditation, and I found the benefits to be absolutely wonderful, which is why, again, I've had a lot of guest experts on Thursdays to try to teach you a lot of those same things, because no matter who you are, you can benefit from them. All right, number 4 is this, tracking your health. No doubt about it. I've been teaching it a lot within my health results accelerators. Every health accelerator, for the most part, comes with a sleeping-based portion to it. I guess gut and digestion hasn't, but a sleeping portion to it. And you really want to track your deep sleep and your REM sleep. So if you're not doing that, check out my previous podcast. We'll try to link it up. For all the links today, just to make things easy, head on over to StephenCabral.com/1823. StephenCabral.com/1823. We'll link up all the different things I've been talking about here today. My team does an amazing job at really linking up all the things that could be helpful for you. So we typically like to put in 5 to 10 different links for you from the show. So definitely check that out. You want to be tracking your whatever your goal is. Like that's literally it. So I know we talk a lot about health, but the truth is, like, if you're looking to lose weight, which I'll talk about in a moment, you want to see the scale moving. Doesn't have to move every single day or every single week, but it should move on a monthly basis. Meaning, like, 1 week you might lose 3 pounds, the next week you don't lose any, the next week you lose 1 pound, the next week you lose 1.5 pounds, and like, okay, yeah, at the end of the month I lost around 5-6 pounds. Great. So you want to be tracking progress no matter what. And let's say you're looking to write a book. Well, what would your progress be for writing a book? Well, if you're not writing, let's say 3 pages a day, you may want to track that, right? Because you say at the end of the day, did I hit my goals? The same for anything. Like I always tell people, if you're not exercising, start with walking. If you're not doing 10,000 steps, start there. Of course, you can work up to it. And you don't need a big formula for that. You can literally put a wall calendar on your wall and put an X at the end of the day when you hit your 10,000 steps. That's what I'm doing now for my workouts. They're all written out, but I have a big piece of paper on my wall and I put a check. It's a check mark every time I complete that workout. It's very simple. It's like, you have to do it. I just do it. It's on my wall. I write in the weights and it's that simple. And then I've added a sprint component to my workouts. Like sprints to me, they're hard. Like if you're going all out, they're hard. So it's not something that I like love and I'm looking forward to. I don't dislike them and I always feel fantastic after I'm done, but I'm like, all right, let's get those sprints done, and it's there and I don't get to check it off if it's not done. So make sure you are tracking your sleep, your recovery, all these different things. And that's a New Year's resolution, tracking. That's a big one for me this year. I wasn't a big tracker before. I just made myself do it. But I didn't know that I was always hitting those things. I think tracking is honestly, I know this sounds weird, but one of the big biohacks of the future. Like how to track things properly is going to be one of the most important things, because we know so much of what gets us results, but people just aren't doing it. So we need better ways of tracking and accountability. All right, number 5 is this. This is mainly for our integrative health practitioners or a lot of people, starting out in their career right now or kind of trying to get to that next level of whatever career you're in, is that you probably want, as we saw, to over these past, year almost, you want to add a virtual component to it. I know that sounds wild, right? Like, okay, yes, of course, we're using Zoom, we're using all these different things, but more for you, meaning make yourself multidimensional. So I say this in more of a teaching aspect. Let people know what you do from a different perspective of you. So sometimes we are always afraid to branch out because people see us as this one thing. You don't need to be one-dimensional. You want to be multidimensional. And if people don't accept you for who you are, that's okay. But also understand that I have people in my life that know me as a son, which are obviously my parents, a brother. People, my family obviously know me as, my wife knows me as my husband. My two daughters know me as their dad. I've got people in IHPs know me as the instructor of IHP, the founder, the formulator, the creator. So that people know you in different roles. It's okay for people to know you in different roles. You are the same person, but you have many different sides to you. Let people know that. And there's a way that you can do that, obviously, virtually. So the way that also leads, though, to more people being able to connect with you in great relationships. I have great relationships right now with colleagues in this industry that I would never have met if I wasn't on social media. So I don't love social media. That is definitely not me. I mean, I should do more. I really should. But I work all day. Like I work, and it's not that social media isn't work. It's just I don't even think about it, honestly, most of the time because I'm just researching, I'm writing, I'm recording, and it's not that I don't like it. I do. I actually do little check-ins, and I love being able to connect with people there. But I'll tell you this, it is very important. But I don't do any social media if I can't teach. That's why people are like, how come you're not on TikTok? I don't do that. Like it's not social media for me is a way to engage with our community, contact, and teach. If I can't teach, I'm most likely not going to be on that social platform. So if you add a teaching component to what you do, who you are, I think it's a great resolution to have. All right, number 6 is this: be a role model for someone you want to inspire. Nobody really thinks of themselves as a role model. I understand that. I get that. As a parent, you're automatically a role model. If you are a leader or boss or owner of your company, you're automatically a role model. How you act disseminates down through the family, through the company, whatever it might be. I have this conversation with people, but it's like, your kids are always watching. So if you get frustrated, your kid's like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to act when something comes up. You need to put on your best face to be who you want to be. You have to be your highest self. You have to try to literally embody what you want to be. And that's a great thing because it makes you better. So even if you don't consider yourself a role model, if you start to think of yourself that way, you actually get better. And the reason you get better is you need to act like the person that you want to be in order to influence those people around you. Another way to put it is this: you need to act like the person your children want you to be or should be, or your spouse or your siblings or your community or your team, like whatever it is. Act as that person. It's so crucial to look at it that way. But also, as a role model, you get to inspire, you get to teach. Many people say, well, I have nothing to inspire. You do. Everyone has their own unique story, and someone else went through what you went through. If you show them what it's like to go through it, to keep working the process, and eventually to succeed, people will find inspiration from that. It's a beautiful thing. That's number 6. Number 7 is this: if I can give you one resolution in terms of your health and overall longevity and overall quality of life in disease, this is one of the most, somehow it's becoming more and more controversial, but I will not back up. I will not step aside on my stance on this. The number one thing that you can do is achieve a healthy weight. The number one thing that you can do. Forget about vanity. Forget about how you look in clothes. Forget about any of those things. None of that is important to me whatsoever. I do believe that bodies are beautiful at every different shape and size. There's no doubt about that. I completely agree with that and believe it. And I also understand that a Kapha body type is going to look very different from a Vata body type, which is going to look different from a Pitta body type at the same height. So I love the photos online showing 8 different women all at, let's say, 160 pounds, and they're all shaped very differently. That is great. It really is. You want to understand is that you need to be at your best weight for you. That's very, very important. So again, body mass index does matter for general population. Some women and men will be around 19. Some will be at that 24.9, the highest part to it. I need to make sure, though, as a health professional, as an integrative health practitioner, as a doctor of naturopathy, that we are getting you towards your goal weight. And the reason is this, again, throw vanity out the window, cardiovascular disease, high blood pressure, type 2 diabetes, autoimmune and inflammatory-based issues. The list goes on, cancer. All of it goes up as you get further away from your goal weight. It is the number one thing that you can do for quality of life and longevity, overall benefits the body. There are many counter arguments saying this, that, and the other thing. I understand, but strictly from a health standpoint, this is about you having the best quality of life, the least amount of joint pain, the ease of moving through life, and the least potential for dis-ease in your body. So if you are more than 20 pounds away from your goal weight, I say get down within that 10 pounds, right? You can always fluctuate up and down a little bit, but get within that space. I'm telling you right now, it'll be one of the best decisions you could make. That is it. That is the top 7. I hope this was helpful. If it was, I would love for you to share this show with anyone you believe it can serve. And of course, for all the links that I talked about through these 7, please tune into stevencabral.com/1823. Take care, everyone. I'll talk with you tomorrow. Thank you so much for tuning into the Cabral Concept today, and I'm glad you made it to the end of the show because I have a big announcement. Over at EcoLife, we are formulating and have formulated a brand new line of products. These are products going to be underneath the Zeldaberry name. That is a trademarked product line of ours, and that is because we are taking scientifically proven zinc along with elderberry, fusing them together for a brand new product, clinically proven to help that immune system. So right now, we would love for you to be able to check out those products. And because this is a field that I love so much, and I only formulate products that I know are going to be helpful for people, that we are giving our brand new products away. So we're starting with the Zeldaberry lozenges. So right now, all orders over $129 get this product completely free. This is a $30 product. And that is because you're getting a full day's worth of zinc. Now, this is a 25 milligram zinc lozenge with, though, the clinically proven elderberry added to it. So you get a delicious lozenge. You can take it any time of the day. I typically take one a day, and I take it after a meal, whether it be lunch or dinner. And this is also, though, in addition to my daily nutritional support that I take and my balanced zinc, which is part of my immunity protocol. So you might say, why take all of these things? Well, if you add up the daily nutritional support, about 12 grams of zinc, you add up the balanced zinc, that's 15 grams of zinc, it's about, 27 there. I'm getting 25 more to equal 50 milligrams of zinc, and that's what I'm doing during this viral-based season. So that's exactly what I'm doing. Now you get a full zinc product along with elderberry, which has been clinically proven to help with certain viruses. So again, that's why I'm so excited about this, because the science backs it up. It's a great new product, and I know it's going to help a lot of people. So the truth is, whenever possible, I try to give it away for free. I try to get you these products if I can. We gave away a free bottle of vitamin D just a couple weeks ago, and right now you are getting this product completely free, $30 value on all purchases over $129. Check it out right now at equi.life. That's equi.life. That is our EcoLife brand. Take care, everyone. Let me know how you enjoyed them.